everyone, welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another indie horror spotlight. Repping the DMV, once again, I have another filmmaker from Maryland. He has a new movie right now that's an Indiegogo. It's out, and it's called These Things. I have with us the director, Matt Anderson. Matt, welcome to the Horror Room.
Hey, glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you, man. It's a pleasure to have you. I listen all over on social media, man. I've been seeing the advertisements for These Things, and I've been seeing the little, what do they call whooshy balls? What do they call?
Well, we'll have to call them whoosh balls because
whoosh balls. Okay. Yes.
Copyright. We don't want to run afoul of Hasbro, who owns the name for what they are. But technically, these are not official other name. These are generic things. Yes. Same thing with this guy right here. He's a generic thing. And thanks to our special effects and creature designer, Craig Sturtz, they will be the next thing. You will, as you see on the poster, he's already, that's just the first one. There are more coming with really, when you actually see these things, you're just going to be like, wow, this is going to be, it's going to be a lot of fun.
So tell us a little bit about the story. What are these things?
Well, what are these things? These things are everywhere. Okay, well, the actual story is pretty typical. You've seen this movie before. 6 friends go out to kind of an isolated house to hang out, to party, to drink, have sex, that sort of stuff, smoke weed. And then, of course, they run afoul of an evil alien invasion of things that look like whoosh balls, because that's what we're calling these. And they're trapped in the house in the middle of nowhere, and they got to try to survive the night. All sorts of stuff happens. Funny stuff, scary stuff. Just everything that you'd expect from a 80s retro, 80s retro style film. But of course, it takes place modern day, and we've added a few modern twists to keep it a little bit more interesting.
So what gave you the inspiration for this film?
You're going to love this story. This is one of my favorite stories. All right, so one night I was dreaming. And in the dream, me and a guy that helped me create Key 13 Films, who unfortunately had to move on to other things due to COVID and a lot of other stuff. In this dream, he and I are sitting in the back row of a movie theater. And we're both doing this. And we're both just cannot believe what is going on. And I just hear, I don't even really see it. I just hear, what the hell are these things? And I woke up and I had to write it. And so that weekend, I wrote down kind of a general outline, a treatment, and then I had to write it. And so I wrote it, and the first draft, I gave it to my partner at the time, and he looked at it, and he's like, I don't like any of these people. These people are horrible people. And he's right. They were really horrible people. It's always good to have honest friends when you're writing a screenplay. You got to have people that are honestly going to sit there, look at it, and go, "Oh, this is great. no, this is stupid. No, this is
Yes.
this. You need to make some changes. But I don't. I appreciate it when people give me why. Is he? He said, I don't like any of the people here. You don't really care for them. How am I going to want to watch what happens or worry about what happens to them when I don't like them? So I went back and rewrote all but one of the characters, the Beaver Cleaver, and once I did that, the feedback was very positive, and they really liked. These people were likable. They were fun. They were, Bobby, played by Kay Leahy, very flirty. Sandra, who is played by Jordan Hunley, tough but nice. Diane, played by Christina Santiago, is very cute but nerdy, but she's a little bit more depth. She's got a very sharp wit, very sarcastic. Jack is just the kind of guy that every girl would want to bring home to mom. And then, of course, Billy is the kind of new to the group, so he's kind of got that, and he's busy having to deal with Bobby just basically just all over him like a suit. And, of course, he's completely liking it, but he's just kind of a little overwhelmed by her just directness. So by creating these nice, relatable, fun people, that's, once I rewrote it again and rewrote it a couple more times, it made the people better. And, and so when we started casting for it and people were reading, they're loving the script. And then, we also had a couple changes, like in the original script, it was a farmer and his wife and their kid and a dog. At the beginning, you've discovered the things, but we changed it to we got Heather Harlow as our special guest star, playing the friend that owns the place that they're going to go visit. We have Brandy Lynn Dalton, who is one of our producers. She's playing a government agent. You see her in the trailer. And then we just added in Jeff, and I'm going to butcher his name, Jeff Kolkowitz, who is playing the second agent. So we got some really, really great people on board, as well as behind the camera. We have Adam Vaughn, who is our cinematographer. We have Andrew Stainer, who's our sound engineer. He's been working with me since my first film series, Profession. And, of course, we have our special effects person, Craig Sturtz, who's the creature designer. He has designed the creature that's on the poster and the other creatures that will show up. He took the basic and made it better. He also makes them move. He also makes them do their things. And then, of course, we have Amanda Megan, who was the director of Anna Key. She's, while she's working on other projects, she's helping us out. She is the intimacy coordinator, because we do, what 80s throwback style horror film isn't complete without a couple of quickie sex scenes. And she's also she's also the lead thing wrangler, so she's in charge of making these things do things. And then she's also going to be the lead puppeteer once Craig finishes designing the creature. It's actually going to be a puppet that we're going to be able to use, which is going to give even more personality to the thing. So, it started off as a dream. I know, because the original question was how did started off as a dream, and then we took the characters, the characters weren't great, we made them better, and then we got the right people to play all those roles, and You just see there's when we filmed the proof of concept trailer, it just went by so well. They were all just so invested and had such a good time. And you're going to see that in the trailer when you watch it, and you're going to see it in the final film. The read-throughs that we've had 2 read-throughs. They have just been the whole audience, not the audience, the actors are laughing. They're having so much fun just reading the script. They're laughing. There's tons of video of us just busting a gut and all smiles because we're just having so much fun. And that's going to translate into the movie. It's going to have gore. It's going to have action. It's going to have beautiful women and handsome men and all the stuff that that you remember from those good films from the late 80s, early 90s. We're gonna have all that in there, and it's just gonna be a rolling good time.
And I fucking love that because I'm an 80s kid. I grew up on 80s horror, and those are the things that I feel like so many filmmakers are trying to do an 80s horror movie, but they leave out some of the key aspects. I know it's PC culture and nudity and all that stuff, but that if you're going to make a 80s themed horror movie, you've got to have all of those characteristics that made them what they were. Now, I do have one thing I want to agree with you about, and that's something when it comes to as someone who's a horror fan, who's a part of the audience. So many filmmakers miss out on that character development part. Like when it comes to the characters or the victims, a majority of times you just don't care about them. You don't care about them, or you just fucking hate them. And and it kind of, listen, every once in a while that's great, that's fun. But when you see that over and over again, it as someone who's a fan or an audience, it dampers the fun of a horror movie. Like you have to relate to the characters, and I think that builds up more and more of the suspense. You feel sorry for them. You want them to survive. Mm-hmm. When you watch a horror movie and you don't care if anybody survives, is that a fun horror movie?
No, generally not. So going back to the thing, first of all, an 80s film's got to have titillation. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you got to have tits or, it doesn't mean that breasts have got to be bouncing all over the place.
Exactly.
But you definitely got to have a little bit of sex appeal, a little sexiness thrown in there. There's no denying that the cast of these things is very attractive. There is not an unattractive person in there, and but as you pointed out, you got to have the characterization, and that was the problem that we had at first. You didn't like anybody, and nobody's going to want to sit there and watch a movie. You always got to have that one character. Every horror film's got that one guy that just annoys the living crap out of you, and you want him, or rarely it's her. Most of the times it's a dude. You want him dead. It's like, come on, hurry up, just machete is done. What was his name? Jody in Friday the 13th Part 3, I think that's the one that was wearing like the Indian hairdress and all.
Yes.
You wanted him. I didn't like that guy. Even when he had that nice little moment, I still didn't like that guy. I was still glad he got the chop. So, you got to have the characters. You got to have at least 2 of the characters are relatable. Usually that's your final girl because you really want her to survive. But if you look at the first Friday the 13th movie, I actually liked pretty much all the characters in there. There was Brenda, she was kind of fun. There was Brenda was always, and then of course, all the horror films fans out there, especially the Jason fans, are going to be sitting there going, obviously you don't love the movie because you don't remember all the names of all the people.
Exactly.
But, like for me, I'll admit, I'm a Halloween guy. Halloween. Yeah. Michael Myers is my Jason.
Yes.
I don't remember the names of most of the characters. I remember the kills, but in Halloween, I remember I remember those characters. Laurie and all the others. But there wasn't a character in Friday the 13th, the original, that I liked them all. Even the one girl that gets killed right at the very beginning, I really liked her. So you got to have that, and we all are guilty of underdeveloping our characters. When I write my first draft's usually more about completing the story than necessarily developing who the people are. If I do it right, you get that. But sometimes I may have to go back, like I had to do with these things. I have to go back and really, okay, why is this character doing this? What is their motivation? When I was writing Anna Key, I knew the characters already. I knew who they were. So they were already written before I started. But with these things, I hadn't really quite figured them out yet. I just had to write the idea down and then try to turn it. And then when I was done and we all looked at it, I was like, no, don't like any of these people. We need better people. Some folks are very good at characterization. Some could use work. And that's where, for me, I've been lucky that I've had people who will tell me, no, Matt, I don't like these people. I don't want to work with these people. I don't care about these people. We need better people. We need people. And so now that helps me whenever I'm writing characters. I not just figure out who they are, but why they are the way that they are. What is motivating them? What can you like about them? Anna Key, she's a wild, free spirit, so you can like that, but she's also a troublemaker, and she's, doesn't give a damn about what her actions do for anybody. But how do you make a character like that likable? And, sure, it comes down to the acting, but also comes down to the characters that you've written. And not everybody liked Anna. One of my friends, when we were talking about, they went to the premiere and they didn't hate the movie, but they really just didn't like the characters. And you're not going to ever please everybody. It's impossible. It is virtually impossible unless you're Steven Spielberg. And I'm sure there's somebody out there that hates a Steven Spielberg movie. I don't know, but I'm sure they're out there. So you got to write the best kind of characters, and you need to make sure that you have people that you can identify with, even in the most ridiculous of situations. Tom Toohey, who wrote Heavy Duty Man. He took a basic concept that I'd come up with and really fleshed out the characters and made them, ordinary people in an extraordinary circumstance. But everybody's still relatable in that movie. And if you can do that, whether it's horror, whether it's drama, whether it's a comedy, if you can do that, then you're definitely going to have a good film. And, whether people like it or not, I mean, there's so many other factors that play into that. But if you, at your core, can say, I like these people, I think people will like these people, I've created people that we can relate to, that we can understand, that we can enjoy, that we can sympathize, empathize, or just absolutely dislike and hope they get killed quickly. But you got to give something. There's got to be something there that you got to be able to sit there and go, okay, yeah, I want this guy to die, but he does have a little, or she has a little bit of redeeming value. Like Thanksgiving. I really, I forget the one girl. Well, spoilers. The one girl that gets steamed.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I really, really was upset when she got killed. I really liked her, even though she wasn't the lead character. I liked her, so if you can do that even with a character that may not be the best person, then you're doing, as a writer, you've done your job, or as an actor, you've done your job, that you've injected what the writer, or a little humanity. Sometimes it's not always there, but if the actor can do it and you can identify and you can like them, then you got something there.
That you were absolutely reading my mind. As you were talking, I was thinking Thanksgiving. So, like, I'm a pretty big Eli Roth fan. And I was excited when Thanksgiving came out, and I didn't see it right away. And a lot of people were saying, "Oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever!" Blah blah blah. And by the way, I hate when people say this is the greatest thing ever. But I knew, expecting an Eli Roth movie, you're gonna get some great kills. And I watched that movie, and my criticism for that movie is that I did not like any of the fucking characters. I didn't give two shits about any of the characters. They all were fucking annoying. It's just. And I did not care if they, like, I literally watched that movie. I'm like, I don't care if fucking anybody in this movie dies. Like, it's just, I was there just for the kills. Like, and like, I never understood why people love that movie so much. It's not a bad movie, but like, the characters are not likable at all.
They are somewhat likable. I mean, granted, they are, all very attractive people. But I felt that there was enough about a couple of those characters that I actually did like. And again, you aren't really supposed to like them that much, but there's still little pieces, about how they, would react to things, when the girl gets killed, when one of their friends gets killed, their reactions are they're all upset and all that. So, I enjoyed it. Is it the greatest thing ever? No. But I've been wanting to see Thanksgiving ever since the faux trailer. I'm now. We just need. Rob Zombie needs to hurry up and make Nazi werewolf woman of the SS. He needs to frickin' make that damn movie, and then Edgar Wright needs to make Don't. Because it was such a perfect Hammer horror homage. But we got. I love the Machete movies.
Machete movies were fun.
They were a lot of fun. I loved Hobo with a Shotgun. And now I got Thanksgiving, and I loved Thanksgiving. I really enjoyed it. That being said, it's not a movie that I'm not going to go back to and watch every year. Like the first Halloween, I'll watch that every year. Thanksgiving, I'm not going to probably be watching it every Thanksgiving. And maybe a couple years later, I'll watch it, a good movie that kind of, had annoying people in it, but you still wound up caring for them was Blair Witch Project.
100%. Yes.
Right. Heather is just this controlling bitch. Yes. Josh just didn't give a fuck, and Mike was just kind of stuck there. But yet they had these moments together, and these, them trying to figure it out. And you were there, you empathized with them, and I had visited the website and watched the other stuff, but really, it was those moments, even though that they were also not the greatest people. They still were people that I liked, that I wanted to see what happened to them and care. So, even if you just put a little bit of it, that can help you, but doesn't necessarily mean that it's always going to be successful. And in your case, you didn't like anybody in Thanksgiving, and
I did.
Totally get that. I totally get that. They were, a couple of them I didn't like at all. But the
part of the movie, but it was spoiler. But the biggest part of the movie as well was that these characters did such a douchebag thing. Oh, look at right, we're inside, and this and that, and people get murdered and killed, and they weren't remorseful at all throughout this whole entire fucking movie.
Right,
and that just bothered me. It just bothered me. Like, it's your fault that these people fucking died, and I'm supposed to feel sorry for you. Like that's what bothered me about that movie.
Yeah, and that's I'm sure pretty sure knowing with Eli Roth the way that he write his movies, there's usually there's people in there that are just really bad and hostile. But you feel bad for the because the guy in Hostel they were being douchebags, and like a reoccurring theme in Roth's film is that you'd be a douchebag, you get bad things are going to happen to you. Because there's a lot of douchebags in his movies.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the consequences.
Except for Green Inferno, because the characters who weren't the douchebags were the one who got the horrible death, and
right.
The douchebag actually made it to the end. That movie.
Well, once in a while you got to subvert expectations.
Yeah. but I'm an Eli Roth fan. Now, but you know what else I'm a fan of? Resident Evil, not the movie series, the video game series.
Oh, yeah.
You actually worked on a documentary, which I did not get to see at Creature Feature. I'm so disappointed I didn't get to see it. And you worked on a documentary about it. Tell us a little bit about the Resident Evil documentary.
Okay. Well, excuse me, I allergies.
I've been coughing all day too, so
yeah. Well, actually, I was primarily the executive producer on that, so I was more oversight, dealing with contracts and funding and budgeting and stuff like that. I do have a small piece in it. You get to see the back of my head during a couple scenes. But what Resident Evil is, the director, Brandon Salisbury, came to me a couple years ago, and he pitched this idea about the George Romero Resident Evil movie that never got made. And, I was like, what? Tell me more. I like George Romero. I like his, of course, I like, Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead. And I love the Resident Evil games. I actually have Biohazard, the actual Japanese, original Japanese version for the Sega Saturn. I have that, and I have Biohazard 2 for PS1. Excuse me. So I love those movies myself. So, and of course, when he came to me with the idea, and I'm like, oh, heck yeah. Yeah. Let's get this thing made. And so, Brandon, along with Tom Robinall from Point Five Films, they did most of the work. They did we had other crews doing interviews in other locations, like in Japan and a couple of other places. So Brandon was the driving force behind it. He was the director. And so he cobbled, or not cobbled, but he got all the key players that he needed to, got to look at the script at the George A. Romero Foundation, really got to do, really did a lot. He shepherded the whole project. And then I just come in with, a suggestion here or there, or, if we need a secure location or needed assistance, and then, of course, once we got it all done, it's a great documentary. It's a shame you did not get a chance to see it. I don't know when it's going to be out. That's up to the distributors. But you find out the story about why George Romero didn't make the movie that he should have made from the beginning, which was Resident Evil. A lot of people bag on the Paul W.S. Anderson version. I actually enjoyed it. I love things. I love, I love Halloween, the Halloween franchise. I love the Resident Evil franchise. I love the Resident Evil movies, except for the third one. That one kind of, the one in the desert, didn't like that one.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
I try not to be so ingrained in a fandom that when they change it or do something different with it, it doesn't automatically mean that it sucks. I give it a chance, and if they succeed, that appeals to me on some level. Maybe not as a fan of the game, but at least still on some level. Then I'm happy. So that's kind of how I approach a lot of things. Like when they redid Star Trek, and when they remake other films, Dune. I loved the 1984 David Lynch version. I love that movie. Absolutely adore it. But I love Denis Villeneuve's version. I love that version. I will say I love the David Lynch version more, but that's because I grew up with that one. So that one's been part of my life since 1984, where Denis Villeneuve has only been around for a couple of years. Death Race is another prime example. I love the original Death Race 2000, produced by Roger Corman. Love that movie. I really enjoyed the remake with Jason Statham.
Fun too,
So I didn't. I try not to be so beholden to the original or to the previous version. I try to give everything a chance, and sometimes they felt like the Ghost in the Shell live action movie.
Yeah.
Visually phenomenal, but it was just a greatest hits version of the original series, of the animated, the movie and the television series. It was just greatest hits, and that just didn't work for me. I still enjoy the movie, watching it as a science fiction film. If they didn't call it Ghost in the Shell, it would have been a really good, enjoyable sci-fi flick. But it was a greatest hits, and like the Aeon Flux movie, I just absolutely adored Aeon Flux, the animated series. I got the DVD box.
Liquid Television. Yeah, I fell in love with Liquid Television. That's when I got introduced to Beavis and Butthead. I'm showing my age, by the way. And Aeon Flux. That's why I got introduced to those. And that movie was kind of a letdown for me.
It was a huge letdown for me. Again, visually great. Story, if it had not been Aeon Flux, it would have been an interesting story. But again, it wasn't because I was so beholden to the original. It's just that I didn't like the take that they took on it. It just, again, it felt like the style, but not the substance. But you're talking about Liquid Television. When they brought back Liquid Television, I loved the original series. I actually loved it kills me that they only made 6 episodes, but I love the remade MTV because it kept the same format. It had the same attitude, but it was all new stories. And then they created this one, which they only did 2 episodes of, called Disco Destroyer. And it is freaking awesome. I mean, it was like, it was an Aeon Flux for the 21st century. It was about this guy, Judah Freeman, who is killed by Satan's minions. They basically want to make him a demon in Satan's cruel organization, Disco. Then he basically gets brought back to life by this Summer Glow, is basically this 60s blaxploitation kind of female, and he gets an 8-track put into his chest, and she brings him back with rock and roll. I mean, it's just absolutely nuts, just like Aeon Flux was. So, again, I loved it. I love it when somebody takes an idea and expands on it and makes it different. But when you try to stay too beholden to something, that's where I feel like Ghost in the Shell and the Aeon Flux movie kind of came up short. They were just a little too beholden to the source material. Maybe they were afraid of alienating the fans and wound up alienating the fans. So, you know, so that's why sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm saying that's what I feel about the Resident Evil movies. Like, back in the Game Pro days, which was a video game magazine that I got monthly.
I know that Game Pro.
Yes, I love Game Pro. I don't know what happened to Game Pro. I don't know if they.
I mean, they all
magazine.
Yeah.
But I saw the preview to Resident Evil, the video game. I was like, "Holy shit, what is this?" Like, I'm a huge horror fan, and that was the first game I got for the PlayStation 1 was Resident Evil. And I remember playing that game, and I just fell in love with the series. And Resident Evil 2, I would get every one of these games open at night. Even now, I'm not a huge gamer, but as soon as a Resident Evil game comes out, I'm talking about in the actual series. I don't play the outer series games, but like Resident Evil Village, I waited in line, got it. I'm such a Resident Evil fan. But when Resident Evil the movie came, the original, the George A. Romero, I remember seeing in Game Pro that George A. Romero was going to be, the rumors were that he was going to direct this Resident Evil movie.
Right.
And I was like, that is fucking amazing. And then it died, and you didn't hear nothing about it. And then all of a sudden, this Resident Evil movie was announced, and Paul W.S. Anderson was attached to it. And I saw that movie opening day, and I got the free comic book and everything. And I didn't hate the movie, but I was like, oh, this is not what I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I gave part 2 a chance, and I was like, hey, this is not what I'm expecting. And then part 3 was like done. I was done with the series at that point.
Yeah. Part 3 was not good at all. But so that's why Brandon is a huge fan of both Resident Evil and George Romero, and so him bringing, like I said, he had a lot of passion for the story, and there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of rumor. There's a lot of hearsay. There's a lot of he said, she said, they said, that kind of thing. So Brandon's movie gives you a pretty definitive answer on why the Resident Evil, why George was originally supposed to do it, and then why it didn't happen. And obviously, I'm not going to tell you the story because I want people to go see the movie when it comes out. Right. But Brandon and Tom, and everybody involved, but Brandon and Tom Robinall really are the reasons why this movie looks as good as it does. And it tells the story that it tells. And I'm very happy to have been a part of it. It's, Key 13, this is our first documentary, so I'm very proud that our first documentary is going to be something this good. And that is because of Brandon and Tom's very hard work that they did. So I really am ever so happy and grateful that they came to me. Brandon came to me. We hired Tom a little bit later on, but Brandon came to me with the idea, and I was smart enough to say yes.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it. All right. So, Matt, where can everyone find you, my friend?
www.key13film.com, not films, even though we are Key 13 Films. Key13film.com, because originally we had a much longer name, but I shortened it and other things. But www.key13film.com is the place that you can find us. We have links to every single project that we've ever done. Each project has its own page. And if there's a short film, you can watch the short film on our site, or you can go over to our YouTube channel and watch it there. We of course have all our trailers. We have behind the scenes photos there. I mean, pretty much all the information that you need about any of our projects is there, and with links to go to other places to learn more about them. We are on Instagram at Key13 Film. Our YouTube channel. Unfortunately, I don't know the name of the short name that we gave it, but you can find the links throughout the website. You just click on any YouTube video, and it'll take you straight to our YouTube channel. So and then just look around. I'm usually out and about somewhere.
Well, listen, everyone, go down to the description. The link to the YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe, share. Will be down in the description box, as well as the website to Key 13, as well as the Indiegogo, guys. There's some great perks up there. The Horror Room has donated, and please go out there and assist and help donate. Matt, it's been a pleasure having you on, man.
It was great to be here. Thank you so much again for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. And we got to do this again.
No problem, man. No problem, man. If you're ever down in Baltimore, man, hit me up, man. We'll grab a drink.
I will definitely, if I'm in Baltimore, I will hit you up, but I will drink a root beer.
Okay. Well, I'll drink a root beer with you.
Excellent.
I am only, by the way, Travis from Horror Room is only a social drinker, by the way. I do not drink it. It's mostly drinking.
All right. Well, I'm infamous for not being a drinker, so that's why, people know.
Perfect. I respect that, brother. Listen, everybody. Thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce. That's Matt Anderson. We'll see you guys next time. Take care.